Hi, welcome to the COVID-19 Lake Norman and North Mecklenburg briefing call. Today is Wednesday, June 24th. My name is John Bradford. I've been your call moderator for the last 14 weeks. I'm a small business owner, 2 businesses right here in North Mecklenburg, and also I'm a former member of the North Carolina House of Representatives. The purpose of these calls has been to bring together really experts to help update the North Meck region on the COVID pandemic. You can see here in the U.S., the heat map, North Carolina has reached more than 40,000 cases along with many other states. From a nationwide perspective, we're over 2.3 million cases with 120,000 deaths. That's compared to a week ago with 116,000 deaths and about 2.1 million cases. So the death total still continues to climb. One death is one too many, but it does still seem to be relatively flattened. For North Carolina numbers, last week I reported 1,154 deaths. This week we have 1,251 deaths. Last week we had about 829 hospitalized. This week we have 915 hospitalized, and we're about 54,000 positive cases here in North Carolina. We continue to focus on 9 counties, mostly urban counties. There are a few rural counties that are included. Obviously, density of people has a lot to do with that. Phase 2 started back in May 22nd. We are in our 5th week of Phase 2. At 3 p.m. today, our governor will be making some announcements regarding Phase 3. I don't know what to say. I'm seeing all kinds of speculation that Phase 2 may be extended. I really don't know, so I would prefer not to try to guess. We'll just have to wait and see. Under Phase 2, which is where we currently are, there's 50% capacity on things like restaurants and personal care, grooming salons, places like that. And the gathering limits are 10 people indoors and 25 outdoors. There was a bill that made its way through the General Assembly, House Bill 594, which worked to try and reopen, fitness facilities, health clubs, bars and other clubs that had outdoor eating areas. It did give the governor some control in case he wanted to, be able to stop or close those businesses. Unfortunately, even though the bill did have bipartisan support, although our 2 local representatives here in North Mecklenburg both voted against the bill, it did pass and it went to the governor's desk and he did veto the bill. So that House Bill 594 has been vetoed. That's unfortunate in my opinion, but it is what it is. There's another bill that just made its way through the North Carolina General Assembly yesterday, this one largely on party lines. And it's a bill that would reopen amusement parks, arcades, and other venues. This obviously hits right at home with Carowinds in our backyard. Again, our 2 representatives, our senator and our representative, both voted no. So this bill did pass, though, having enough votes both in the Senate and the House. So it, too, will make its way to the governor, but I'm assuming that one will be vetoed as well. So we'll find out, I'm sure, in the days ahead. Phase 3, we'll learn our fate today at 3 p.m. So don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about Phase 3. Do want to remind you of the 3 W's: wear a face covering, wait 6 feet apart, and wash your hands and use hand sanitizer. If you want any face shields, there's a company in North Carolina. We have a Cornelius area sales rep. They're $8 a piece. That's for the frame and the clear shield. And it's called Layered Manufacturing. Right here on your screen, you can see their website. If you want a cotton face cloth covering, like a mask, if you will, you can order them from another North Carolina-based company, $2 a piece. You have to order a dozen minimum. And they even have ones with the U.S. flag printed on them. In Durham Mills, you can order them. You see the website right here on the screen. Their number is 1-800-334-8605, option 1. In Mecklenburg County, just some data, 8,800 positive cases with 144 deaths. Comparing that to a week ago, we had 134 deaths. So we've had an increase in 10 deaths since last week. It is interesting, though, that 142 deaths were adults greater than 60 years old, and only 15 deaths were ages 40 to 59. And all deaths, every one of them except 2, occurred among adults with underlying chronic illnesses. And this statistic, which is really telling, nearly 2 out of every 3 deaths was attributed to long-term care facilities. So there must be continued focus on long-term care facilities. And if you are in this above 60 category, you need to take precautions, especially if you have an underlying chronic illness, because you are vulnerable. We have been lucky to have every Wednesday the North Carolina Director of the United States Small Business Administration, Director Thomas A. Stith III, with us. Director, I know you're with us today, so we'd love to hear an update from you regarding the SBA.
Yes, John, thank you so much, and I'm glad to participate again today. Thank you for your leadership around this issue that is impacting our community and our small businesses. I just want to take today to re-emphasize the importance of the date of June the 30th, which is just next week, right around the corner. The Paycheck Protection Program will no longer accept applications. And actually, your application would need to be in and approved by the June 30th deadline. So we're encouraging all small businesses, nonprofits, faith-based organizations that have not already sought a PPP to take a look to see if that might be something beneficial to your business. There's currently over $100 billion remaining in the PPP program. So significant funding still remaining. As we mentioned on last call, the Paycheck Protection Program Flexibility Act was passed on June the 5th, which provides more flexibility to our small business community. They're extended the cover period, or the period that would be reviewed for loan forgiveness for the Paycheck Protection loan is now 24 weeks versus 8 weeks. So a significantly longer period of time to utilize these funds. To qualify for full forgiveness consideration, in the ratio of 75 to 25 payroll expenses to other allowable expenses is now 60%. Expenses would have to be utilized for payroll expenses. 40% can now be utilized for other allowable expenses such as rent and lease payments. And any loans made after June the 5th would have the option of those funds that were not forgiven to go on a 5-year, 1% note as opposed to 2-year. There has been over $12 billion of financial assistance to small businesses and nonprofits so far in this program, so significant financial support. And we're just encouraging during these last days, in particular our smaller businesses and nonprofits who may not have participated earlier, just trying to get the word out that there's still funding available. The other initiative from SBA, as far as financial assistance, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan portal had reopened and is still open. That is a direct loan with SBA. Over $2 billion so far approved through the EIDL program for North Carolina small businesses, and now still once again accepting new applications. So John, just want to make sure that small businesses in our region and nonprofits, faith-based organizations are aware of these two initiatives, and in particular the PPP, which you would, if you apply, need to have your application approved by June 30th. While there are discussions being held in Washington now for potential next phase support initiatives, we do know we have these two now with PPP closing on the 30th of June. So just encourage small businesses and nonprofits to pursue these if beneficial for their organizations. Thank you so much, John, and appreciate the opportunity to come on.
Yeah, thank you, Director Stith. Very helpful update. The real important thing there is, folks, do not wait to June 30th, because that's not only the deadline, but the approval deadline. And this does take a little bit of time, although banks seem to move pretty quick here in underwriting. I would really strongly encourage you to get that in a couple days before the end of the month, which is really now. So get to work on it the rest of this week and hopefully get it turned by the 30th. So thank you, Director Stith. We appreciate you. Moving to, I'm not sure if Dr. Jack is with us today. Dr. Jack Faircloth, he's a local doctor right here on the ground with Atrium Health. I'm not sure if he was on call today. So Dr. Jack, are you with us today? Dr. Jack? Okay, so we understand he's out in the field doing what he needs to be doing, and I was not sure if he was going to be able to join us today. So moving to Mecklenburg County Commissioner at Large, Pat Cotham. I'm hopeful she's here today. Commissioner Cotham, are you with us? Okay. Let's see here. Is there anybody with me right now? I don't know if we're having technical problems. look here.
John, with
Pat?
you. I still got you. I still got you on the phone.
All right. Bill Russell. Pat, are you with us today? Pat Cotham? Okay. How about Woody Washam?
Yes, sir. I am right here, John.
All right. We'll go to you, Mayor. So this is Cornelius Mayor Woody Washam. So, Mayor, the microphone's yours.
Thank you, and I appreciate that a lot. I don't have a long list of updates. I will tell you that I'm very proud of the efforts of our town staff in securing a testing site for my town, Cornelius, at Smithfield Park. Right now, today, it's going on from 8 o'clock this morning until 2. So anybody that needs a test, Smithfield Park is the location. I want to personally thank Atrium Health for working with me to provide this particular service to not only our Smithfield community who requested it, but also our entire town. So kudos to Atrium. Also, thanks to Novant Health for their providing masks for really the entire Smithfield neighborhood, which was handed out on Saturday. So we've had a lot of great community efforts going on throughout our town to fight this this pandemic that we're all dealing with right now. We wait, as I think probably the entire state waits to hear the governor's assessment of where we will go post phase 2, if anywhere. The requirement of masks, as we know, if I'm sure Pat would mention if she were on the line, the fact that the county board did vote to put a mask mandate in. They will need some support from the adjacent towns in Mecklenburg County. We have discussed that once at our board. We will continue to discuss it if it makes sense based on the enforcement piece of it. Then we will talk about it one more time and decide where we need to go as a town. I'm sure all the other towns will be doing the same thing if this moves forward. However, if the governor mandates it, that'll take care of it. We will have to follow that ruling and that particular order, depending on what he does. So we're waiting for that reaction from the governor, which I think he has a news conference this afternoon around 3. So we'll be watching and waiting on that direction there. We have a great event coming up this Friday. It's our normal symphony concert, which we have about this time every year, celebrating our 4th of July and so forth. It's actually coming up this Friday on a virtual format. It will be held at D9 Brewery, but it will be virtual. You can order some food from the food truck and take it home with you and listen to this great concert by Rocky Lynn virtually. So that's this Friday, beginning at 6 o'clock. I think it's going to run from 6 until 8 this coming Friday, provided by the Cornelius Park Department. So that's all I have, John.
Very good, Mayor. Thank you for those updates. Moving to the town of Huntersville, Mayor John Aneralla. Johnny with us today?
I am. I really don't have too much to say, though, John. Obviously, the mask issue has been something percolating in the news. We had our last board meeting on Monday, and we don't plan on a regular meeting until July 20th. So I'm not really sure what the governor is going to say today, but if he institutes a mandate, then that's what we'll have to work with. And as Mayor Washam said, how you're going to enforce it is going to be the difficult part of that. And then really, just as I said last week, we have some tournaments coming to Huntersville, baseball and softball this weekend. So we're looking forward to having some back to summer athletics competitions. So that'll be great. And I'm going to be out of town next week. We're going on our first plane ride during COVID to visit our son in Long Beach, California. So I won't be here next Wednesday. But I've really enjoyed being on these calls, and we'll just see what the governor has to say at 3 o'clock and what we need to do to get everything moving to the next phase.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, be safe on your trip, and we will be actually reducing the frequency of these calls probably to twice a month now, John. So I'll keep you posted.
Okay.
So we will.
Okay.
So thank you. So safe
Thanks for
travels,
that.
and yeah, I hope you enjoy your time with your son.
Take care. Bye.
You bet. The town of Davidson, Commissioner Fort was actually traveling on an airplane today, so he's traveling back from somewhere. I'm sure business related, so he cannot be with us. There's no updates from CMS District 1 board member Rhonda Cheek. She did say that July 1st is a big day. I guess there's some big announcements coming for the school year for next year. So that's right around the corner, July 1st. So, and then lastly, Bill Russell, Chief Executive Officer of Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce, is with us. Bill, I'd love to hear from you, sir.
Lastly, the last person on the call. John, we're very excited today too, and anxious to hear Governor Cooper's response, and hopefully moving into phase 3, and we could put some more of those people back to work, and the gyms and the other businesses that have been still at the stay at home. So again, we're looking forward to that. We had a great program on diversity and race relations last week. Many people may know that the Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce created a diversity division way back in 2008 that has been very, very busy putting on programs, recognizing diversity. We have the awards luncheons that we typically have in September. We have the women's conference that we're still on schedule to take place in August. But last week we had a fantastic program on race relations. We had Huntersville Police Chief Ben Hoyle. Before he actually was with Huntersville, then went to Cornelius, now back at Huntersville. But Ben's was here. We talked about race relations, diversity, inclusion, and policing at the lake. Teddy McDaniel, who is the president of the Urban League, joined us, along with Reverend Paula Ennis, who represented the faith community. We had someone from Unity and Community, Adrian Bonds Wallace, who was also on that call, and Harold Rice, who's going to be the new incoming CEO of the Ada Jenkins Center. If you're not familiar with the Ada Jenkins Center, it's a tremendous outreach center located in Davidson, and the executive director there has been Georgia Harris Kruger, who yesterday we had a little retirement party for her, a little get-together. And we did the social distances. We did a little parade of cars and then met her in the courtyard. And we thanked her for her years of service. But that program that we had last Thursday, it was emceed by Dan Houston, who's the incoming chair of the Diversity Council, along with myself, and we discussed a variety of topics for about 90 minutes. It wasn't scheduled to go that long, but again, it was a tremendous discussion. That particular discussion is being held on our website at lakenormanchamber.org in a YouTube video. So if you get a chance, please look at that. It gives a pretty diverse look from the eyes of both African Americans and Latinos and then Caucasians. So again, it's a tremendous opportunity to have a dialogue on that subject. Last Friday, we had our first chance to interview Eric Boyette, who is the new secretary for NCDOT. And Eric outlined his vision for the state, particularly around issues like funding for DOT and also I-77. So we had a discussion on that as well, and that too was placed on a YouTube video. So both the diversity panel from last Thursday and the DOT transportation discussion, both YouTube videos, both on the Lake Norman Chamber of Commerce website at lakenormanchamberofcommerce.org. We hope that you get a chance to go there. Again, very anxious. Hopefully the governor is going to move us into phase 3. We can put these gyms, the bars, the nightclub, the fitness centers back to work. We're very anxious to do that. And again, thank you, John, for hosting these calls.
Yeah, thank you very much, Bill, for the work you do at the chamber, and as a small business owner and a member of the chamber, I stand with all of you. Thanks for joining. Just another resource, the Huntersville Regional Chamber. There's their website, and then visit Lake Norman. This group it really does a yeoman's work here. They have a small staff but a mighty staff. They are open for business. And they're actually hosting 4 interns right now, all from University of North Carolina, Charlotte. And all those interns started around the 2nd week in May. And Visit Lake Norman is starting to invite some of the ambassadors who are willing to come and return to work in more of like a staggered and a staged approach. So Visit Lake Norman, be sure to check them out. They have a great website. They've done some really creative things throughout this pandemic. I just want to thank all of our our panelists, and during this 14-week period, it's taken a lot of time, their time to join the calls. And I've been your moderator. It's been my pleasure to do this. You can follow this on my Elect Bradford Facebook page or John Ray Bradford, which is my Twitter. And we post these calls every Wednesday. But now with the governor's announcement later today, we will crank these calls, or ratchet the calls back, I should say, to just a couple times a month. We've been doing we did these 3 times a week, and then now we moved to once a week, and now we'll probably move to something like twice a month. If you have any emails, lkntogether@gmail.com. You can email me there. We've had lots of you reach out, and we tried to help the best that we can. We are stronger together. Please take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. This does conclude today's call. Thanks for listening.